I said salute to the untouchable True School Sports Empire.
That's
Taking
right, the
over
untouchable.
not only the South Florida boxing scene, but the worldwide boxing scene.
It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, it's been a cold Christmas here in South Florida. We got into like the 40 degrees, and you know, it's been cold. It's been windy. It's been cold, so you had to wear hoodies and winter hats and all these kind of things. So, you know, hope everybody's Christmas was well and you celebrated it with your families. And if it wasn't well, as I've experienced many unwell Christmases, then I hope you're feeling better now as you head into the new year. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about Jermell Charlo, because we know Jermell Charlo, he got injured. He pulled out the fight. The Tszyu Jermell Charlo fight will not be happening in Las Vegas, January 28th, and that's a sad state of affairs, because this was a fight that I know a lot of boxing fans, myself included, were looking very forward to. You know, Tszyu has kind of been poking the bear, so to speak, and getting Jermell Charlo riled up. Charlo looked like he really wanted a point to prove, and he was gonna make a title defense as an undisputed champion against a really tough undefeated fighter in Tszyu. It really was a fight that I had circled on my calendar, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm never gonna be happy about anybody's injuries, and I'm not happy about Jermell Charlo's injury, because I'm a Jermell Charlo fan. I love watching him fight. I love what he brings to the sport. I love his attitude. I love the passion he has for his craft and for the sport. And people may interpret that as him being crazy, but I just see it as like he's a passionate guy, and he's trying to really prove a point every time he fights, and that's what I like about him. He's got that chip on his shoulder to want to, show what he can do in the ring, show that he is who he says he is. And I think we're all trying to do that in life. We're all trying to be who we say we are, but in a way, right, it's kind of poetic justice, right? And I'm gonna explain what I mean. It's kind of poetic justice that Jermell Charlo gets injured before a fight like this, because let's be real, let's call a spade a spade. Jermell Charlo fought Castaño, I believe it was in May. And not too long after that, they already had this date booked, and it was like 7 months in advance. 7 months in advance that he was going to fight Tszyu. We already knew what the deal was. Now, a lot of channels here on YouTube, specifically channels like my main man, Cali X Boxing 2.0. Shout out to him. Go subscribe to him. Like, people like him make light of the fact that in boxing, the main thing plaguing the top fighters in the sport, and just the sport in general, is the activity or lack thereof. There's not a lot of fighters being consistently active throughout the year. And I genuinely believe that Charlo only fighting one time this year and being in what I deem to be, I believe it to be willful inactivity, because why would you fight in May and then you're not going to fight till January? That's ridiculous. Like, no, stay active, stay sharp, because this is what happens. You start basically not fighting, not training for a fight, and then when your body has to get back into that mode, it becomes a little sensitive, and things like this tend to happen. So this is what fighters like Charlo get. Like, not just Charlo, but any fighter who chooses to be inactive. This is kind of what they get. I know these things happen. I'm not happy about it, but like, maybe these guys should stop fighting once a year or 0 times a year, and they wouldn't get injured so damn often, But speedy recovery to Charlo. I just had to say my piece on that, because when I saw this and I saw him going off about, I'm not faking the injury like Castaño was, or this is not a mental health problem. Okay, I'm not saying you are. I don't think he is, but you got injured because, like a lot of fighters are getting injured. A lot of guys are pulling out of fights because they're just not active, and that's just what it is. But in light of that, it's not all bad. I think we can make a negative into a positive. That's what life's all about. Life is all about turning negative situations into positive situations, right? So now you have one Tony Harrison. Shout out Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison, we know Tony Harrison because he was the guy who exposed Jermell Charlo when he beat him a couple years ago, and then, you know, he lost that rematch in very heartbreaking fashion. But he was beating him there too. And we know Tony Harrison, he was post-fight Fundora. But, you know, and I still want to see that fight if it can happen. But he has offered to step in place of Charlo and fight Tszyu. Now, I think this fight actually, if they were to allow it to happen, it would make a lot of sense for a couple of reasons. Number one, Tszyu and Tony Harrison have been linked to fight each other for quite some time now. I remember a while ago, I think it was before Tszyu fought Takashi Inoue in Australia. They were trying to get a Tony Harrison fight back then, and Tony Harrison didn't want to go to Australia. So, you know, make of that what you will. So there was that. Second of all, Tony Harrison is the only guy in this division with a win over Jermell Charlo, and they still have some unfinished business with the fact that they're like 1-1. You know, Tony Harrison won the first fight, Charlo won the second fight. So there's people in boxing like myself who still want to see that trilogy. I want to see that third fight, because the reality is, when you look at that rivalry and the build-up, it's probably the best rivalry in boxing. Unlike, you know, the two divas at 147 who don't fight. They actually fought. They legitimately didn't like each other, and they put on two great fights, especially the rematch. The rematch was a great fight, you know. So I would love to see a third Tony Harrison Charlo fight. But Tony Harrison versus Tszyu is an awesome fight, because now that would also give Tszyu a chance to fight a guy who was a former champion in the division, a guy that I would say, skill for skill, might be the best guy in this division. We know Tony Harrison doesn't lose. Like, Tony Harrison doesn't get outboxed. He never gets outboxed. It's always, he gets hurt, his legs fail him when they shouldn't, you know, his knees get weak when they shouldn't, and he gets stopped. But it's never because a guy is skillfully better than him. It's just always because of the fact that he's not durable enough to last. So we know Tszyu comes forward. We know Tszyu is a well-conditioned fighter, and he may have some things in his style to where he could bring out those weaknesses in Tony Harrison to the forefront and get him out of there. And I think that would be, for him, if he could beat a Tony Harrison, that would be a great way to build the Charlo fight even more when he comes back. And then now, the other issue you have, and this is going back to Charlo, the other issue you have is now that if he's going to be out for some time, because he has one of those like casts on, and it looks like his injury is pretty severe. It is like serious. If it is serious as it looks, I don't think he's coming back anytime soon to fight. So then the question will be is, will the WBC, the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO, will they all let him hold on to the titles and pretty much hold the division hostage until he comes back? You know, that's one thing that's one thing to consider. Personally, look, it's no slight on him. If he has an injury, it's not his fault. But that shouldn't rob, and it shouldn't hold up other guys in the weight class who want to fight for world titles just because he's injured. If he's injured and he can't fight for a prolonged period of time, then you don't need to waste any time. I think all the governing bodies need to strip him of his belts and let the other guys go fight for him. It won't take away from the fact that he was undisputed, but fair is fair, you know. I'm sure Tony Harrison wants to be champion again. I'm sure Tszyu eager to be champion. I'm sure Sebastian Fundora wants to become a world champion. I'm sure a lot of these guys want their cracks at glory and to be world champion. So if the guy who has the belts is injured and he can't fight, then okay, you can make him the mandatory challenger for all the belts when he's healthy. But in the meantime, strip him, let the guys fight for the belts, and yeah, make it happen like that. So yeah, those are just my thoughts on, you know, the whole Charlo pulling out situation. It's unfortunate, it sucks, but it's kind of what him and other fighters get for being willfully inactive. And if they're not being willfully inactive, then it's Al Heyman's fault. You know, we'll point the finger at him because we like doing that here on True School Sports. So we'll point the finger at the promoters, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn. It's all your guys' fault. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.